Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Recently, Olight released their Baton 4 Premium Edition and were kind enough to send me one to have a look at. Now, it's a little bit of a mini confession at this point. As far as the previous three Batons, I mean, I've owned the Baton 3 Pro, the Baton 3 Pro Max, but I've never owned any of the smaller original kind of Baton flashlights. So I thought, as this is the Baton 4, we'll have a look at 4 things that I've learned about this new Baton that's really impressed me, and I think will hopefully help you to decide whether or not you want to pick one of these up. Now, the first thing that really surprised me about this is just how small this is. I wasn't expecting it to be this small. I read the spec sheet, I'd seen the measurements online, but I think sometimes you don't understand how big something is until you really hold it in your hand. That's what she said. But yeah, so it is definitely smaller than I was expecting. Now, to compare this to some recent lights, so I just assumed that it would be kind of a similar size. So this is the Warrior Nano that I recently made some content. Of course, I'll leave a link wherever that goes. But you can see it is considerably smaller than the Warrior Nano, especially when you look at the diameter of them and even the length of it. In total, there's a good 15mm difference between the two. Now, really comparing this to some other popular lights around this size, again, I just kind of assumed that it was a similar size. So here we have from Sofirm, we have the SC21, and from Through Night we have the T1S. I always want to say TS1. But again, you can see as far as the diameter is concerned, there's a good maybe 3mm between all of these and the size of this one. Comparing this to its larger brothers in the family, there is a real big difference between these. So here is the Baton 4 against the Baton 3 Pro. The Baton 3 Pro is nearly twice the length. I mean, it's not exactly twice the length, but let's say that this is 3/5 of the length of the Baton 3. Now, I'm guessing with this being the Baton 4 that there is probably a Baton 4 Pro in development. But recently the Baton 3 Pro Max, which is just too much of a mouthful, but the Baton 3 Pro Max was recently released, and I'd say this one probably is roughly twice the size. So as far as an EDC flashlight is concerned, it's got some great credentials just because of how small it is. The next one that's really surprised me is the power to size ratio, and Mrs. Moorlander loves it when I talk about power to size ratio. This is a 1000 at its max on its turbo setting. This is 1300 lumens, which again really surprised me because some of these other similar lights have similar outputs and are considerably large, not massively larger, but they are larger. The light modes that you have on here, you can do a short press, which will bring you onto the moonlight mode. This is half a lumen. You can then do a long press, which will then take you onto the low mode, which is 12 lumens. Another long press is medium, which is 60 lumens. Long press up to high is 600. Now, I really like the steps on this. I think that they are very well spaced, and then of course you can do a double press, which will then take you up to its max 1300 lumens. There are some kick downs on the turbo. After it will kick down from 1300 down to 600 down to 300, and on the high mode it'll start on 600 and then go down to 360 lumens. But I think this is kind of expected, especially for a light this small. It will be producing a lot of heat, and it needs to make sure that the electronic circuitry inside is protected. It's a clever decision, and it's a decision that makes sense. One of the additional features that they have on here, which I believe the previous version didn't, I'm sure someone will probably correct me on that, is that when you turn the light on here, you have a battery indicator here on the right hand side, so you have 3 levels, and then on the left hand side, if I bring this up, let's see if we can turn this on. So at the moment we're on high. Oh, I've just turned it off. Take it back down. We're now on low. now on medium, now on high, so you can see which level that the level of luminosity that you're using here directly in front of you, just in case you were confused at which level you're at. Now the light and battery level indicators on the front here also kind of overflow into the next point, and that was hidden features that I quite like that I've found about this. Having that on the front there, one to be able to take the lumen levels, which I'm not usually that concerned about. I generally find that when I put stuff on, I put it onto the moonlight mode, but the fact that I can get a little bit more of a readout on how much battery there is left in this, I think is great. Some other little features or hidden features on the side, just to make sure you're aware which side is which. On the right hand side here you can see there's a small little battery, and on the left hand side here there's a small little kind of star sign. Some extra little bits, so in the packaging when this arrives you do get a lanyard with this, which is great and nice, but rather than trying to find some point in which way you have to hang it on here, so there is on the clip on the back here, there's a small lanyard hole there for you to pass it through. Also on the clip on the inside, if you can see, there's also a tiny little pressed through section here. So one of the difficulties is if you ever have tried to connect the clip this onto something, is the fact that the clip only really pinches here at the bottom, so it can often move around if you're wanting to attach this to the brim of your hat or something like that. It's not uncommon for them to move around or sometimes kind of slide off if you've used it quite a lot. Instead, adding this extra little slither of a push through here gives it an additional grip area that whatever it is then clipped to, it will then hold onto that a little bit more. Now I forgot to mention with the lanyard, inside of here as well, you also get this little tool, which I think is great. It's very similar to like a SIM card tool that you push in to get your SIM card out, but instead it's got a small hook on the end. So to help you to be able to get your lanyard into this hole, they also give you little bits that you can help it through as well. It's great that they're thinking of that. Now the fourth one really is the versatility around this charging dock that you get with it. So inside, just to be clear, so inside the Baton 4 itself, you do have one of Olight's proprietary batteries. This is a 16340 battery, which is a 650 milliamp hour battery. So that fits in perfectly. The machining, which you do kind of expect with Olight, is perfect. There is a strange little grind, so that little bit that does poke out, you'll hear it does grind ever so slightly against the knurling. This is anodized aluminium. It's made from very popular 6061 T6 aluminium, so it's nice and light but also very tough. So the battery is in here. Now predominantly it is charged through this battery box, and what you do is you slide it in there, and hopefully you'll hear, so as it goes in, so this isn't gravity, that's actually a magnet that's pulling into that, and then here on the front you can see that we've got 100% battery. On the inside of here, so the flashlight sits here, and then on this side there is a 5000 milliamp hour battery in here, so you can wirelessly charge this. You just put it in. If you think that it's running out of battery, you put it in and it will charge your battery in here. So this was a 650 milliamp hour battery in the actual flashlight itself, and then here you have an additional 5000 milliamp hours just in case. To charge this is with the USB-C port here on the front. Now I will say, so everything that comes in the box, usually you do get an Olight wireless, a magnetic charge cable. This is one of the first ones that you don't get one of those. I think this is all due to recently Europe saying that you can't use proprietary chargers. However, it does still have the charging port on the bottom. So like many of us, if you've had Olights in the past and you still have one of those magnetic chargers, you can still use this on here. It will still charge it, and you can still use it whilst it's charging. You can also use this, so whilst it's charging and it's in here, you can also use it as well, and yeah, it just slips in. Another additional feature that I really like about this, and it does say on the top here, so if you also have the Baton 3 or you have one of the Perun 2 minis, these will also fit in so that you can charge it as well. But it doesn't end there. This will also reverse charge for you as well. So if you have a mobile phone that you think is running low on battery, you know that your battery's got plenty of life in it, you really don't mind using some of the 5,000 milliamp hours that you have in here, you can plug your mobile phone into the USB Type-C cable here and it will reverse charge and help to charge your mobile phone as well. There's a lot of versatility just in this small package as far as charging is concerned, and I think it's a real winner for Olight. So yeah, you could say that there's quite a bit. As I mentioned, the Baton 4, I thought I'd find 4 things that I'd learned about this that really impressed me. Now, as always, the proof of the pudding's in the tasting, so let's see exactly how this works in the dark. Well, the sun's gone down and we have another unseasonably light night again. So we'll go through the different settings. I'll do a long press. From a long press from off, this comes onto the moonlight mode. It's half a lumen, so half the brightness of a candle, which is probably difficult to actually pick up on the camera here, considering it is, as I say, it's a reasonably nice night. When I'm in the house and it's a completely black or dark room, I'm about 12 inches away from the floor at this moment in time. Half a lumen's great. It's brilliant to be able to find things and not have to worry about waking up your partner. So I can do a long press. Now I will say, so there is a there is a memory function on the light itself. So actually let's turn it back off. If I turn it off and we're back onto the moonlight mode, if I turn it off and back on again, it will remember that I was on the moonlight mode. Not a lot of lights do that. I quite like that. I've said it before and I say it 1,000 times, I tend to use moonlight and low generally the most for my flashlights. So for long press, currently we are on the low mode, which is 12 lumens. I mentioned before, I do like the step ups that you have on this light, and 12 lumens is great. If I'm out walking the dog, then I can see far enough in front of me. Here at the moment, this light's probably about 2 meters away from me, and then I can see at least maybe 5 or 6 meters ahead. No issues whatsoever. Again, I think because it's a reasonably light night tonight, the camera's not doing it any justice. But I can do another long press. This will then take me up to medium. What I will do is let's point this over here to these stairs. So this has a TIR lens on it, which does help to focus some of that light. What I'll do is, as I do sometimes, so this is looking forward. You can see a reasonable warm spot. It's not what you'd call a defined warm spot, but I think again 60 lumens, you know, it's what you'd expect for 60 lumens. I'm going to turn this 45 degrees to the left and forward, 45 degrees to the right and forward, so you can see that warm spot move. As far as a defined skirt around the light, there isn't with that. The TIR lens does do a very good job of focusing that light forward, but it's still more that you'd class as probably a floodlight. It's lumens rather than candela. So that's the medium, which was 60 lumens. I can then do another long press, and this will bump me up to the high mode, which is 600 lumens. So being able to see this little ornamental waterfall here, that tree that's there now, onto the other side of the fishing lake over here, and onto the far side. There's that little island in the middle that I often point to. You can see these a lot easier. I'm just going to go back down again. So here we're on low, medium, you can see that a little bit better, and then high. And here again, looking at this tree here, we've got low, medium, and high. But yeah, I really do like the step ups on this. I think they're very well paced, that's probably the wrong word. I just mean kind of very well spread out. Now at any point, so let's go, I don't know, let's just go down to medium for now. You can do a long press and it will turn it up onto its turbo mode. Turbo mode on this is 1300 lumens, and you can see it does a very good job. It's actually surprising. I mentioned one of the things that I like about this is that kind of power to weight ratio, power to size ratio. Mrs. Morlander loves it when I say. It does. It's surprising that a flashlight this small is pumping that out. Yeah, great to see. And then at any point you can do your triple press, which will put it onto strobe mode. It's not a variable strobe or variable refresh, but it does the job that it needs to do. The Baton 4 Premium Edition is a great little package. There's no two ways around it. I think for the size, the form factor, the fact that you've got the additional battery in here, if you did just want to go out for the day and scale down what you've got and take this small flashlight out, you can. If you want to kind of take it out for the max, knowing that you're going to be away for a few days, maybe you know that you're going to be away, you're wanting to use it more. There's a lot of kind of modularity around this, and the fact that it charges other lights as well. I think Olight at the moment are going through from strength to strength. Maybe 4 or 5 years ago, they had a bit of a fumble with a few lights. I think that's fair to say. However, I definitely see themselves making back the progress that they may have missed slightly on some of those lights 4 or 5 years ago. And yeah, the Baton 4 is kind of the antithesis of that, and showing what they're capable of, products that they can bring to the market. Now at this point I definitely want to say a huge thank you to Olight UK for sending this to me. It goes without saying, you guys are great, and also just as a disclosure point, you know, they do send me these flashlights. I have a brilliant relationship with them, and if I didn't like it, then they just say, well, don't make any content on it. So these are my own opinions that I'm voicing today, and of course, yeah, the sky's blue today, so of course Olight are having a sale. It's Black Friday week. It's strange that Black Friday used to be one day, but now it's a whole week or a fortnight. So there are some exclusive discounts below where you can see more from these, and also some other lights as well. There are some other lights that I'm going to be doing this week for them. And yes, there'll be some discounts, but yes, it's probably the best year. I think generally the Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales are better than the Christmas sales. So if they are thinking of picking one of these up, then definitely check the links below. And it's also a very easy way for you to be able to support channels like myself. If you hate my channel and you know somebody else has got links to them, use their links, because that's also a great way of being able to support their channel. Hopefully you don't hate me, but you know, it's quite a strong emotion. So anyway, yes, all of those links are below. I'll also add in some of my social media links here on Morlander EDC and my sister channel Morlander Tactical. But for now, as always, stay safe, stay Morlander, and stay EDC. Yeah, so on a weird note, it is generally a really good way of being able to support creators like me, or like I say, if you know somebody else that's got a link, you might think, well, actually I prefer your review, but I'd rather they get a little bit of commission for it. Go and use their links. As I say, it doesn't cost you any extra, and it just means that I can afford to change the tyres on my Ferrari at the weekend, because damn, those things aren't cheap. Mrs. Morlander, she's got a corn addiction that's just mental. The amount of money that she's spending on OF at the moment is just crazy. You know, you gotta pay the bills. You just gotta pay the bills. So there you go. Hope you're having a good week. Yeah, quite a busy week this week, and I've even took a day off to get through some content. It's a busy time of month, time of the year, time of the month. No, that came out wrong. Anyway, I'm going to leave it on that note before I dig myself a larger hole. But if I did dig myself a hole, I'd be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel with my new Baton 4 Premium Pro Edition. Yeah, cool. See you in a bit. Love you lots. Bye.